If you polled 100 NBA fans at the start of the season, and you said, after 30 games, I'm going to give you two choices, Cleveland Cavaliers or the LA Lakers. Which team is going to be better after 30 games? People would say, is this a trick question? Are you serious? 100 out of 100. No chance anyone even imagines a moment that the Cleveland Cavaliers after 30 games would be better than the Lakers. Let alone that they would be better off for the future. No chance. Like, absolutely, like maybe a little fluky moment. Everybody dies in LA Lakerland, and then somehow Cleveland plays no one, and everybody that they play has COVID, and it's all G League. Like, maybe, but like, okay, Jay Scrub is like logging many minutes, you know? Nobody. Like, everyone, high levels of confidence chooses Lakers. But here we are, 30 games in, and look at the standings. The Cavs are the better team right now. The Cavs are not just a better team right now, they are in better shape for the future, for the long term and the intermediate term than the Lakers. I bet you that the Cavs end up with a better record than the Lakers this season. And I know that I said last season in the offseason when they signed Russell Westbrook and they had problems and Dennis Schroeder didn't sign, and then that thing fell apart, and then you had Montrezl Harrell wanting out, and you had, couldn't sign even Dwight Howard, and there was just many issues of things going wrong. And I said this is rock bottom. And now I know that wasn't rock bottom. This, I might think, is rock bottom because it's a real world scenario now where you're comparing the Lakers to the Cavs. LeBron James' former franchise, and it doesn't look good. The Lakers do not look good in comparison to the Cavs. And you've got folks in the real world, I have to point this out, people like Kendrick Perkins are not imagining scenarios, but they are creating real scenarios where LeBron James is forcing his way from Los Angeles, California, to Cleveland, Ohio. Let me let that sink in for a second. There are people like Jimmy Patsos who are saying LeBron should ask his way back to Cleveland. Like Jimmy Patsos, he's a serious person. Yes. There are serious people putting that out into the world. And not just people like that are trolls like me, Like, these are real human beings with serious thoughts in their head, They're not just like, what would be funny, Maybe Kendrick would. Like, this is nuts. That's where we're at. Let me find the Kendrick Perkins tweet. Because that's nuts. That's who LeBron is. He said, I wonder if LeBron James would consider demanding a trade back to Cleveland. The Cavs have a nice squad. Don't remind me, though, and carry on. Outside of Trae Young, stud Darius Garland is the second best point guard in the Eastern Conference and should be an all-star this year. Carry on. This is my man Patsos, what he had to say last night on BetMGM Tonight.
They need Anthony Davis to play, and then they got a couple guys they're waiting to see if they can get healthy. I actually like Carmelo off the bench, but with AD out, why can't LeBron say, I'm going back to Cleveland one more time? They would take him. If he went to Cleveland, they become the favorites right now in the East. The West is too good. You got the two best teams in the West.
The West is too
good. So go to the East. Go to the East for 3 months. Why not? And if he's allowed to go to Cleveland because that's his place.
Coach, how is that deal going to get done? Like, that trade has to make sense.
Kevin Love, they got enough money. Kevin Love.
You think the Lakers are going to trade? Kevin Love's in a whole
bunch of picks that they have stockpiled for.
You think the
LeBron.
Lakers trade for Kevin Love? They trade their cash
I like it, Coach. I like it.
They trade Kevin Love and Colin Sexton and like 7 first-round draft picks for LeBron James.
Coach, hear me out. Kobe White for LeBron instead.
Tell me how this works mathematically and, like, how is this going to make sense from a Lakers perspective?
Well, no, I mean, you just, salary-wise, you have to throw Love in there. And then Sexton wants big money, so he's looking for a place that has cap room. No, in a year you figure out the rest. You have to throw a couple. I don't know if you'd want Cleveland's picks because they're good. Now, you could throw a Okoro in there who's a really good young guy at 6'7", because you can find – because LeBron's going to play. So Okoro, Sexton, love for salary cap and your first rounder. And, hey, if LeBron says I'm doing, he runs the league basically, and I got no problem with that.
This man said Kevin Love would match the salaries, and that's how I knew he was coming off of a plane and they had free drinks. That's how I knew this man was not thinking straight. Like, and then people in Los Angeles and Rich Paul had to dignify it with a response and said, I spoke to LeBron. This is what Shams said. I spoke to LeBron's agent, Rich Paul, and he said this talk is totally ridiculous. LeBron James is not leaving the Lakers. You spoke with him, and he said it was ridiculous. The fact that we even are talking about this. This team doesn't look like it has the young legs that they need to have, and that's why the Lakers have been active in the trade market. When you look at a guy like Ben Simmons, they love to get a guy like him or Jeremy Grant. What are we even talking about right now? How do you think you're getting these players? How? Like, this is not a bad Lakers team. Not just a bad Lakers team. This is an unfixable, untenable situation. This is a marriage that is just too costly to split. Like, you know that guy. I'm sure you know him. I know you know of some man or woman that's in a relationship and they're married, and it would just be a complete financial disaster if they split this thing up. So they just go along peacefully in their own realms. But everybody knows they're not really happy. They're not going to be together long term. And that is Russell Westbrook right now in the Los Angeles Lakers, because there's no one who wants him. No one. And now Anthony Davis, the cornerstone of their franchise, where they traded multiple first-round picks to get him, Anthony Davis is hurt again. Again, he is 27 years old, and he still has a degenerative issue in his tendinosis of the Achilles. That's still happening. Yep. Not tendonitis, but tendinosis, which I always let people know is degenerative condition. Now he has a sprained MCL. 4 to 6 weeks out at best. At best. Anthony Davis says, mentally I'm fine. I'm in good spirits just being around the team. Obviously avoided a major injury, which has my spirits back up because I just didn't know. He said I heard it pop, folks. And now the team is 500 now. Just lost their best player. And face it, they have 20 games at the very least without him. Do you know what that means? I mean, that means things you just hate to see. Another year where the Lakers stars are hurt. The supporting cast cannot carry the load. And they are waiting for their star to come and dig them out of a hole where it's just too deep in order for them to dig them out of. They've played 16 different starting lineups in 31 games. They've struggled mightily to mix and match their way out of this mediocrity. Frank Vogel's in the lab trying to cook up ways to make, and I said this pre-season. I was like, listen, maybe there's a way that this can work. Maybe. I doubt it. But if there is a way, like when you go to that show Chopped, and you get there and there's a box of ingredients and they don't make no sense together, and you have to make a Michelin star meal out of them. It's like, we're going to give you foie gras and Cheetos and a light bulb. Make something. That's like, but it's like if they give that to Wolfgang Puck, right? You're like, I'm excited to find out what this is going to be, right? If they give that to me, I'm like, fam, deuces, right? Like, you cannot give this mix and match box of ingredients to Frank Vogel and expect a culinary masterpiece to come out. And that's what he's been doing. He's been sweating when the lights and the cameras are on with the saute pans. And they're like, Frank, what are you making up here? And he's like, I just foie gras. I've got some foie gras. Got some. And it's like, you're just saying the ingredients that you have. Yeah, we got Russ. We got AD. We got LeBron. We're just figuring some things out. And it's like, you're not. I don't know that this mix ever makes sense. I'm not sure that this will ever taste good. I'm certain this will never be a championship contender. But I think actually this is a recipe that's going to put folks in the hospital if they eat it. Like, I think you might have glass in your lungs at the end of this thing. I mean, he's cooking up these lineups, and they don't make no sense. Braun told reporters after the recent loss, "We currently have no idea what this Lakers team is capable of due to the whole entire season of us not all being together. It's hard to assess how good we can be." Yes, that's true. Injuries impact the team. But guess what? When you, AD, Russ, and DeAndre and Jordan and Melo were all playing, you were still 500. Russell Westbrook says he's also extremely, very optimistic heading into the 50 games left in the season. I mean, come on. No, he's not. Remember, it was Russ who poo-pooed the preseason, saying that nobody cared about games that didn't count. And then it was Russ, after the shaky start, who was like, well, you can't judge a team in the first couple of weeks. 31 games in, he's like, well, can't judge a team till April. And it's like, it's like, wait, we can't judge you until you're literally, like, packing up your locker? Is that what you're saying? That there's no time period prior to you going home where we can say, hey, this isn't working? It's like, whoa, Russ, you're just lost. I know, and how you should know that the Lakers are truly in trouble. Like, actually things are a big issue, is that Austin Reeves, an undrafted player, same level as Jay Scrubb, a man that you've never heard of his name before this year, is statistically their best player on the team. Who? Exactly. I call him Diet Alex Caruso, the assistant janitor, if you will. The assistant to the janitor. Baby Goat, which is the kid. So Austin, the Kid Reeves, that's the new nickname for him. Undrafted number 2 guard out of Oklahoma by the way of Wichita State. And when he is on the court, their defensive rating is at 98.3. When he's off the court, 108.7. That is a crazy net rating. His on-court net rating is 9.8. That's the highest on the team by far. I mean, out of guys that actually play. Right. I mean, we knew this team would struggle to get open buckets when they had Russell Westbrook, fucking with the spacing. We knew that. Everybody knew that. But you didn't think that they would be 26th in the league in offense while LeBron James was on the court. 30th, below 30th on offense when LeBron James is not on the court. So basically, just to be mediocre, LeBron James needs to log like 48 minutes a game. Like, what? Time is a circle. Every team with Russell Westbrook struggles offensively. He limits every superstar that he's near. That's just the case. Like, that's just what I hate to say is the case. It's not an easy fit. I don't know. Like, what is the recipe for success? And we've said it a million times for LeBron James. You surround LeBron James with shooters that can space the floor, provide lots of open lanes for passing, open lanes for driving, and kicking. Like, all of those three things make for a successful offense. Move without the ball, drive, kick, open up things with, dribble drives, open up things with pick and roll, pin downs, etc. Right? When you have Russell Westbrook, none of those options exist. Like, they're all gone. And then you give him instead a bunch of old guys that either can't shoot or that do shoot but can't play defense, like Carmelo Anthony. And so it's a net negative regardless, whether they're on the floor, whether they're not on the floor. It's not a great scenario because when Carmelo's not on the floor, they can't fucking play offense. When he's on the floor, they can't play fucking defense. That's what the numbers on NBA.com/advanced tell you. You know what I mean? It's not it's not even a hard fix. It's not even like a supremely difficult fix. I think it's completely impossible to fix. And now with AD is hurt, this team is now giving big minutes to my man DJ, my man DeAndre Jordan, who in a recent game was a negative 26 in 15 minutes. of time. That's the largest in the NBA. He is the second lowest plus minus while playing 15 minutes or fewer by a Laker since 2000. Since 2000. He's minus 92 for the season. That's the second lowest player by any player in the entire NBA who's played 350 minutes or fewer. And Shams and Woj, they keep clicking and clicking on their Twitter machine saying that the Lakers are active on the trade market. And I'm like, how, Sway? How? What you going to get? How are you going to take? It'd be like, okay, you got that box of the light bulb and the foie gras and the chocolate and the popcorn. And you're like, hey, I'll trade you this light bulb for your steak. And you're like, no. I'll trade you my Russell Westbrook light bulb that fits nowhere in this box, and I want you to give me Ben Simmons. No, I'm sorry. Even someone who's about to lose his job, like Daryl Morey's not going to do that trade. And that's assuming that they can actually trade for anyone. Right. Like, Jeremy Grant isn't going to help this team win a title, and I don't even think you can get Jeremy Grant. Like, the best trade piece that the Lakers have is Austin Reeves. Like, and he makes no money. He makes no money. So your most valuable piece, you can't even trade for anyone of value for him back. Like, that's your best player, Austin Reeves. You can't trade him. Like, you would be better off actually truthfully trading LeBron James than Austin Reeves right now. That's a troll thing to say. That's a troll. But it's not untrue statistically. So what does this mean going forward? You've got a 37-year-old player, LeBron James, who must play 35 minutes or more just to keep them at 500 in mediocrity perpetually. And then when they ask interim coach David Fizdale, Mr. Take that for data, because currently Frank Vogel has COVID, like everyone. They asked him, hey, why don't you try to slow LeBron James from playing so many minutes? And he's like, LeBron doesn't give us a choice. What are you talking about? Like, what do you mean? He's out there. He literally just puts his body on the floor, and then we have to find someone to pull off the floor. LeBron always wants to be out there. He's in such good shape, he's not worrying about it. I mean, you know who's got to worry about LeBron James getting re-injured? Everyone. Every single person who profits off of the NBA must worry, must shake in their boots, must stay up late at night wondering, thinking about the amount of minutes that LeBron James is logging for this dog shit team. Like, he would probably bring in just as much money on the East Coast when we can watch him at a reasonable hour. Because I don't want to watch him at 11 p.m. play with DeAndre Jordan and Austin fucking Reeves. I would love to see LeBron James with Evan Mobley. Ooh, I kind of love that. I would love LeBron James and Darius Garland and Lauri Markkanen and Evan Mobley on at 7 p.m. Eastern time in purple and gold. I would love them to just not be in Cleveland. I would just love them to be another team instead. But you can't have everything you want. And then if you're wondering, okay, well, maybe they'll just wait for the Russell Westbrook contract to fall off the books and him to be they just lose him for nothing, something, buy him out, whatever. No, by that time, LeBron James will be 40. By next, not this summer, but the following summer, LeBron James will be 39 and change. And that's not great. Honestly, I just cannot think of a single scenario for the Lakers to get out of this one. Somehow you took 5 valuable pieces that you could trade and brought back 1 light bulb. Like it just, and then they're like, oh, it's just Russell Westbrook. He just plays a little too fast. We're trying to slow him down. And it's like, this light bulb, all it knows how to do is give you light. Like, that's all it is, on or off. That's all it is. You can't slow this man down. We've tried. He's a Tasmanian devil. Ask folks in Washington whether Russell Westbrook can play at 65% pace in the speed that every other elite athlete plays at. Because he's legitimately way too fast to be on the court with other elite athletes. I mean, the only way it works is if LeBron James somehow becomes 23 years old again. I don't think that's going to work. Or you could potentially trade the only real piece you could, besides Austin Reeves, is Anthony Davis. If you traded Anthony Davis for like Donovan Mitchell or Paul George, I don't see any scenario short of that where this team can actually do what it needs to do, which is to win a title, let alone even contend for a title. Like, this is not a team in the top 6. And the fact that they're 500 right now is a testament to how great LeBron James has been. He has been fucking amazing. Like, we can't say enough how good he is at this age. Right. And it still doesn't matter. Because without him, this team is 12th, 13th in the West, with a lovely, sweet, very athletic light bulb who gets paid $46 million and is an anchor bringing your entire fucking franchise down to the basement in the West. That's all the time that we have for This League. Nope, that's all the time that we have for the Heat Check. We will be back Monday evening with a new episode. From all of us here at Odyssey, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, happy whatever holiday that you enjoy. If you just passed with the winter solstice, happy solstice to you. Have a joyous holiday, folks. Please do not forget to subscribe, download, and tell all your friends about the pod. Follow us on social at This Heat Check and at Trysta Krick on TikTok. We will see you Monday, late evening.